From the top of the Silver City Ballroom, it's the Dirty Laundry Show with Joey Clifton and the Meatball.
So you people laugh here. Some of you think I'm a little cuckoo.
When are you people going to stand up for us?
I do not feel safe. I take that as a threat.
So let's talk about the library.
Yeah, but they can't.
Don't make me make an excuses just yet.
No, you're full of shit. Big
You're
cause.
full of shit.
No, listen.
He comes running out of the woods with a flamethrower, dude.
Whole life out here enjoying the journey.
Sometimes I cannot help myself. I just tell people that they're stupid.
We like to call him Ninjolito.
That's his fame.
Hello, Joe.
This was the largest event held on the green. My estimates were 4,000 plus. Others said there was at least close to 5,000 people.
Wow, that's fantastic.
You want to get into it? Let's get into it.
What did you think of that?
Excellent.
How'd you like that?
I love it.
My favorite part is Lois DeMeo at the end. That's fantastic.
I believed her.
That's my favorite spot. I like
believed
it. Hey, it's another edition of Dirty Laundry. It's Joey.
And Meatball.
And we got a special guest in the studio, Mr. David Cooley.
Hey,
Hello.
guys. Welcome. Thanks for having me.
How'd you like our intro?
Love it. That's an all-star cast.
Yeah, no, I the more we keep going, maybe we'll get you in the next one.
No, it's quite all right. My mission is to come out of this without having to be in the bumper.
This episode is sponsored by, I'm going to throw it to Mr. Cooley.
Yes, the Old Church Concert Series.
What is that?
This is a series of that started in 2016 up in Rocky Hill at a tiny little church up there.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of mine was running that, and I'd met him through the Bluegrass Festival a number of years ago and supported that. And he, for health reasons, had to at least plan to close it down. And I said, why don't we keep it alive and move it to Meriden? So
Right.
we put a team together with Denise Jones from Inner Groove and the Mid-State Hospital.
So it's a bunch of music and some food.
Right on. It'll be food, spaghetti and meatballs in the church. Meatballs.
At the First Congregational Church.
First Congregational Church here on Old Colony on
When?
February 7th.
7.
And we've reached out to a lot of the musicians who've played the series over the years, and we have 26 of them coming back for the premiere. So they'll each get a song and be able to sell a little merchandise. And
Wait, so they're each going to do a song on the first night?
That's right.
And then it's going to be a weekly event or a monthly event?
So it's a monthly event, and we'll typically have 3 acts per evening.
Right.
So it's a nice date night out, get some dinner, listen to some of the best Connecticut singer-songwriters. So it's original music and really phenomenal talent. And Frank Curtelli is going to MC for us the first night, and we're really excited about it. So hope everybody can come out.
And there's plenty of parking at the 24 Colony Street parking garage. It's free on the weekends.
That's true. That's true. And so come on down, and we hope people take advantage of the train. These are folks from around the state that'll be coming into Meriden and see the nice clean streets we have here. So looking forward to that.
Nice,
Excellent.
clean streets.
That's right. Hey.
Now that the snow is gone.
Right.
Well, it will be gone anyway. So I heard Little Caesars closed.
Yeah.
We're talking about all the new businesses coming in and going out. And, Little Caesars closed over on East Main Street.
Did they have a parking lot?
A parking lot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe Lianas can move there because they were looking to relocate.
Well, there's a lot of things going on. So Freezy Freezes, I read the article about that. They're opening on February 2nd in the old Middlesex Community College across the street from the courthouse. And it's not just ice cream and yogurt, but it's video games and arcades and stuff. And Mary Ellen from the Record Journal, she did a really good article with Henry Lee, the owner of the building. And he was talking about how, with the Landmark Diner closing after not even almost 3 months, and he felt really guilty because he felt like he should have done more to help them out. And I think that's really rare to find a landlord that's really willing to help out its tenant and really wants to see their tenant. And that's kind of what today's podcast is about. It's about downtown Meriden, economic development, what's going to bring businesses in. We've had the same conversation for I don't know how many years now. And last week's episode, Meatball got a little heated.
Yeah.
There was a little heatness to his voice. And it was kind of directed towards David from Making Meriden Business Center, but it kind of wasn't.
Well, it wasn't personal.
So I
know that.
It wasn't personal, but I want to get into it right now, and I gave you guys a little intro. All right?
Uh-oh.
So here's your intro.
Tonight, we are going to witness
the most anticipated match in the history for the heavyweight championship of the world. Are you ready?
In this corner, wearing the green MMBC trunks, weighing in at 190 pounds, Dave the Destroyer Cooley. And in this corner, wearing the tomato sauce colored shorts, weighing in at a whopping 600 pounds, it's the Meatball's Palm.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
So that's good, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get going.
Man, you
All
guys
right.
are too much.
So if we go back to, I think you were here November 26th, 2018.
One of the first episodes.
Yeah, one of
That's
the
right.
very first episodes. Our studio moved around from
November of
location
18,
to location.
So it's November 19. So, yeah, a little over a year ago.
A little over a year ago.
Yeah.
So I want to play a little clip of you from a little over a year ago. So you guys were, at that time, November 2018, you were really only around for just around a year.
About 8 months, I think, since we started. Yeah.
And I want to see how if you feel the same way or if you don't. So listen to this. This was from a little bit of over a year ago.
We think we have enough funding to get us through another year, and it's not a big budget by any means. You're talking $50,000, $60,000. So.
Has there been any difference in the interest level since you opened your doors?
Yeah, I mean, with the train opening, we put a little concert on to celebrate that, and people are coming through the front door, and it's really become I think where the chamber was on the second floor, with us being at the street level in that location at the corner of West Main and Colony, it's really become a hub of activity for, folks like the Downtown Neighborhood Association, the Farmers Market, the Hispanic Outreach Leaders Association meets there and has their board meetings, and the chamber has their board meetings there on occasion, and so it's really become kind of a hub. So we've had a lot of walk-in people come in and say, I'm interested in a business. How do I get funded? And I don't have a business plan. Can you help me? Those kinds of things. So we provide all that support.
Does it seem like a lot of landlords are willing to bend a little bit and work with people just to get people into their vacant buildings?
I think it's a mix. We have some landlords that are very flexible and others that are even hard to get a hold of. I can just come in and ask questions and kind of punch through all that old stuff. But anyway, there are some definitely challenging landlords because they're not here. They're in New York or they're elsewhere, and they've got other properties, and they're not paying as close.
It's not a priority.
Yeah.
Okay, so I should say that was Mary Ellen on there.
That's right.
She'll be on the next episode from the Record Journal. So do you feel your answer is the same now going a year ahead?
Yeah, I honestly, most everything I said there is still very relevant.
Right.
I mean, we've become and still are the hub down here of activity. We meet every Tuesday with the chamber and the leadership from Medco and Joe Fest from Economic Development, and just talk about what our priorities are and how to keep things moving, really.
Okay, so to let the listeners understand a little bit more, Medco, Meriden Economic Development Corporation.
Right.
Explain that to me briefly. What do they do?
So back in the 70s, they were the economic development engine for Meriden. There was no economic development department in the city.
Okay.
So they were it, and it's a nonprofit 501c3.
Uh-huh.
And at some point, and I don't know what year it was, the leadership got in a kerfuffle with Medco, and they decided to start an economic development department within the city.
And then Medco just kind of stuck
So
around.
Medco was there and had some funds, and have a board of directors and still do, and I think kind of floundered around a little bit for a while trying to figure out what they wanted to do. And I think since Tom Welsh and some of the new leadership came in, they've been able to incubate some projects over the last couple of years, and one of them being, how do we, now that we've invested in downtown, how do we help kickstart what's happening and be a part of that?
So you've got so Medco is really a private version of economic development. On the private level, they kind of work with each other, and then because the Chamber of Commerce moved out of downtown, everybody felt, hey, there still needs to be some type of a presence having to do with business downtown. So they created the Making Meriden Business Center, which is funded by the Medco, the city, and the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, the first year was really a Medco-driven initiative financially.
Right.
The city put in our first year $5,000 up. Medco put up $50,000, and we got some grant funding from TD Bank, threw in a few dollars, and Liberty Bank and other folks like that. So they raised some money to get this off the ground, and worked with Connecticut Main Street Center, which is a out of Hartford area, and is interested in helping a lot of towns similar to Meriden get off the ground, and,
right?
Recover from all the things everybody's dealing with these industrial cities.
So you guys have a charter then?
We have a mission of helping to make. Well, there's a couple aspects of it, right?
Right.
We need to make it an attractive place to attract new businesses.
Right.
And really, the initial impetus was to be a concierge type of a service downtown, so that we could help people who are interested in coming in, or whether it's the small entrepreneur or large entities that just need to know who to talk to.
So how's that different from economic development at the city hall?
So our focus is, again, because of the recent revitalization efforts downtown, is to be downtown and have that emphasis on communicating to folks that we're a nice place down here.
Well, how come the city hall can't do it?
Well, I've gone to
the city economic development department is in charge of the entire city.
Right.
So they've got the Brownsfield stuff, which we don't get involved with all that kind of stuff. So that's really the big hairy problems that every city has. And Research Parkway and the Cat Hole Mountain stuff. That's not really what we're involved.
So would you say they focus mostly on troubled areas versus your more free enterprise?
The challenge is they have to work with all that stuff, right? It's a big job.
Right.
It's pretty incredible what's involved with all this stuff, and the amount of meetings and phone calls and lawyers, and it's
well, and that's one of the things I have gripe with. It's a big job. I'll agree with that. But there doesn't seem to be any movement towards progress.
Well, here actually, I'll play a little clip of
I
you.
have to disagree.
I'll play a little clip of Meatball last week.
Yeah.
We think we have enough funding to get us through.
Wrong clip. Ready?
Yeah.
We're having 6 organizations here that are sitting on their ass and waiting for something to happen.
So there you go.
Right.
So are you saying David Cooley's sitting on his ass? I know you're not saying that, but explain your comment.
Well, my comment, we do have 6 organizations. I think we counted.
Who are the 6?
Making Meriden,
so we're
Medco.
We're really the retail face of Medco. We're Medco.
Well, I think what he means is there's 6 organizations trying to promote business in Meriden.
But I get my paycheck from Medco. So
right. And it's not really about you either.
No, I don't. I'm okay with that.
It's just 6, 7, 17, 3 organizations.
I mean, to me, everybody's on economic development, right? Parks Department, the YMCA, Police Department.
We are.
We're all, you guys.
I think we are, too.
No.
Yeah.
Well, Parks Department has parts to
be
take care of. Police Department has policing to do. But there's specific 6 organizations, be it 4 or 3.
So the Mid-State Chamber of Commerce is Wallingford and Meriden, and supporting all businesses, networking with each other to help each other.
Right.
Sorry, I got something stuck in my throat there.
Their role isn't necessarily, pure economic development. So, I mean, should happen with business to business.
Right, and we can split hair all day.
Yeah. And who's the other?
Medco, Making Meriden.
We're kind of one.
Main Street.
Connecticut Main Street Center is a state organization. Yeah,
that's
Lisa.
You got the communications director
and economic development
chamber. We're not going to argue that there's a number of organizations focused on economic development.
I think what happens is, like last week, Meatball was complaining because I was making a lot of excuses. So I was pointing out the fact that I've gone across to talk to David many times at the Making Meriden Business Center, from needing a business plan to needing spreadsheets to not having the right software. And on a business level, Dave's been there for me in the Making Meriden Business Center. So I'm assuming, hey, he's doing his job, he's getting paid, and he's helping local businesses do what they want to do. Now, when I first started looking at a business to open up in Meriden, Making Meriden wasn't there. So what did I do? I went to City Hall.
Right.
I went to Economic Development. I talked to Juliet, who introduced me to Paula, and sat down and told them my idea. They gave me a list of potential locations.
Sure.
And phone numbers, and I started making phone calls and looking at. So
Right.
they pointed me in the right direction. And then they went a step further and they hooked me up with SBA of Connecticut with Shelley, with Michelle Kohler. So in my eyes, economic development did a great job on helping me start my business in this town.
Right, it's their job to do.
Right. Now I feel like that task has been pushed towards this new office, which is making Meriden Business Center. Do you feel the same way? Like that is now your job, Dave?
Well, parts of it for sure, right? Shelley comes in on Wednesdays from the state to help people if they have funding needs, and we
But
steer people
let's
there.
start from scratch.
Yep, sure.
I'm a new business owner interested in Meriden. How's
Right.
the process? What's the process?
Well,
I go to the city hall first because
Yeah, they
everyone
can
goes
they
to
can go to City Hall first and
Right.
get the same, if it's depending on where their location. Joe will inform them of all the various locations that might fit their needs,
Right.
And help make that happen. They may or may not get us involved because we're busy, and that's fine too.
What's
but
contingent on getting you involved or not involved?
if it's downtown, we talk every Tuesday, so we'll know what's happening and anywhere I can chip in to help or help with marketing or help with connecting them to the chamber or whatever the new business needs or the funding services that are available. And Joe and I are both on the same page there. We're one team. But if somebody comes in my door, which is if it's a downtown thing, often the case, then I bring them up to City Hall and we walk through to the various departments and find out, how do you make, get your signage, how do you get your permits and things like that. So,
Right.
Well, I find that a little odd because where do you add value in the whole process? So if I go to the city hall, I can go to Joe Fast and then I can go to different departments, look for signs. Why would I come to you to walk me back to the city hall?
You don't have to come to me necessarily.
Right,
It's
right,
up to
right,
wherever
right.
people hear about us first. We just happen to be kind of a retail storefront shop area.
Right.
That
But I'm just trying to
hopefully
figure
people
out
see.
where the value gets added to the whole process through all those 6 organizations.
Well, we just streamline the process, hopefully, and make it easier. And we can tell them before bringing them to Joe that this might work or this might not work, or a little bit of the scouting of locations I can help before I bring them to Joe.
So you're basically
is the idea to free up the economic development office so they can do other things? Is it to free up Joe's time?
My priority in my role is to make downtown pop, right? So I'm looking
Right.
at how is this company or new business going to be able
pop
to
like that?
Yeah, no, big pops. And so that's how that's the lens I'm looking through it. And if they don't have a place down here that does
Right.
it doesn't fit, we look elsewhere in
But
Meriden.
what I'm seeing is if I'm a new business owner, I come to the city hall, I get popped around all these different organizations. Go talk to Making Meriden, go back to the city hall. Somebody's going to walk you to the city hall.
They wouldn't send you down
It
to us
complicates my process.
Yeah,
of
but no,
establishing
but
business.
you're complicating it yourself
Yeah.
How?
in
Not-
thinking about it, because if you go talk to economic development,
Right.
depending on what you're talking about,
Right.
they're going to point you in the next direction. It's not a
Right.
matter of going back and forth and back and forth.
Well,
You don't
as
know
Dave said-
because you're not actually coming up with a real
No.
Like, give-
let's not make it
give an
too
accent-
complex than it is.
Give an exact example. You want to open up a card store.
Yeah.
You go to economic development at City Hall.
Right.
Joe turns around and says, a card store would be great in this area of Meriden. Go talk to Dave at the Making Meriden office, and he'll let you know what properties are available. He'll hook you up with the landlords. So now you go and talk to Dave at Making Meriden.
Is that true?
Is that kind of the way it works?
I mean, he would come down, and grab me, and we'd walk around together with this prospect, and I would share, what I've seen and what we're
Right,
doing.
but once
and
again,
why.
where's the value add to that process?
Well,
and
mean,
I don't mean to
no,
put you
I
on the
got you.
spot.
What we're doing, I think, is more than that. It's the the placemaking, the making downtown look and feel, and make it vibrant, green,
Right.
and we said, how can we help? We need to stimulate activity and don't have a lot of money, right? So we were at
Right.
a meeting with a group of our peers up in New Britain, actually, and we said, what's the number one thing we can do in our life cycle right now, coming out of this brand new park and new train station, but a lot of empty buildings. What can we do to really have the most impact for the least amount of money?
Right.
And they said flowers. So we said, that's interesting. That's not what I expected. But we were able to, put a program together with some great volunteers and clean up those old flower boxes that were laying around. And
So you guys have a relationship with New Britain because Meatball has this relationship.
Well,
with
I
New
think that's where
Britain
Connecticut Main Street Center comes in. I mean,
Okay.
I've met all my colleagues that have similar roles in all the downtowns, and we share ideas and talk all the time. Yeah.
So what do you think is the big? I mean, because we were talking about this last week. We look at New Britain at this as a huge success story compared to what it was 5 years ago, and
Right.
what the mayor has done there. And I believe if Meatball is correct, they don't have a city manager. The mayor is the city manager.
Right, the
in
structure's
that
different.
situation. So what are they doing that? I guess it comes down to, okay, it's been, I guess, 5 years now. I would say from Merredin's lowest point financially and business-wise to where we are now. What is New Britain doing different than we are?
Yeah. I mean,
Why are they?
why
Did they get it so fast and it's taking us so long?
I don't know if that's true. I mean, the fast track came in, right, and that's been
Right.
a big success, and that launched in 2014 or 2015.
Yeah, but
So they're a few years ahead of us in terms of their efforts.
but that's not because of the fast track. New Britain got on a roll of.
It's everything, right?
It just came in the middle.
It's a constant effort to clean up the city, and the mayor's done a great job, and Jerry Amodio is the guy that's the downtown guy up there, and we talk
Right.
a lot. He's done great work, and
his best advice was to put flowers.
That's kind of
in the group where we were that day. The
Yeah.
thing that stands out in my mind, and
Right. Oh, okay, I got you.
The other advice is all the same hairy things we all deal with. How do you clean up buildings that
Yeah.
are
Right.
don't make any sense on a spreadsheet to
And how?
revitalize?
How do you do that?
You keep at it. I mean, you got to find investors that are willing to. I mean, we have amazing architecture here.
Right.
We have
an amazing town.
We do. And,
Right.
And I'm very bullish on where we're going, or I wouldn't be doing this. Because I was retired. I thought.
Well, I think it comes down to.
But
you've got two issues. You've got the buildings that landlords aren't doing anything about that are falling apart, and they don't care that they're vacant. And then you've got the new buildings like 24 Colony,
Right.
where the landlord doesn't care whether they fill it. So I think
So
those are the two big issues.
There's no. If a restaurant moves out of Middletown, another restaurant can move right in.
Right.
And that's happening here now, thankfully, right? The diner closes, another guy moves in. So
Right.
It's not the same in terms of scale, but it's the same idea, right? There's the vibe now that this is a good place if we can make it financially doable for people, right?
Right.
So it's very difficult for an investor to look at a building and say, okay, I've got to plow 200, 300,000 into a kitchen, then I've got to clean up some
Right.
asbestos, even though it's not a great problem, or I have another building that has no power, that's going to be a big number. So you have all these, challenges that, a typical restaurant moving in isn't facing,
But then you get somebody like Henry Lee, who says, "Hey, here's these group of guys they want to rent an office space from me.
Right.
I want to open up an ice cream shop and arcade. Why don't I let these guys, instead of just opening up an office space, here, I'll give you the ice cream machines. I'll
Right.
give you the arcade games. You guys run it. You kill two birds with one stone." I think that's a very rare situation, but that's what Meriden needs more
But
of.
that's rare and it's one off.
Sure.
How
Yep.
many landlords
Sure.
are going to be like that? You can see the landlords across the street don't even care about how the building look or even
Right.
if they fall apart.
Right.
We
So
have a
that-
big fence blocking the sidewalk for what? Almost a year now?
Well, I mean, the first problem was they had water coming out of the front of the building, freezing up on the sidewalk,
Right.
right? So the city got the roofing company in and fixed that
Right.
problem.
Guess who paid for that?
It goes back to the owner.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
if they pay
and,
up.
and there's liens on the building, and they're getting fined every day for the facade problems. And
Do you think eventually the city will be in a position to take that over because the fines have gotten so large? Is that the goal?
they're
And then what?
well, I don't know what I'm allowed to say. There's conversations happening. Let's
Yeah.
just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But then what? Then what? You raise the building and you leave another hole in there?
You sound like Rhodey now.
It depends.
No, I'm not
knock it
advocating
down.
raising. No.
It depends who gets the building,
I'm
or
offended
takes the
now.
building, or invests in the building. Hopefully, somebody
Right.
can pick it up for cheap, maybe, and spend some money and turn.
But
it
that's been
because
happening
that's
in
got an
Meriden for
amazing-
years already. Where they were picking up the buildings for cheap, and that's why they let them sit because they're not really invested in it.
Yeah, but
You
look
need
at
the right
look at
guys.
Henry Lee. Henry did that. He picked up the Middlesex Community College really cheap, but he just happens to be
You're
somebody who's
talking
doing
one
something.
example, which
Right.
doesn't really reflect anything. On the scale of the city, one guy doing great, it's great.
All right, but think about it. Except for what's the address across the street here that's falling apart? That's
7 through 13.
7 through 13.
Well, 7 through 11.
Okay, so that's
Colony.
2 buildings.
7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Except for those 2 buildings, the majority of the landlords are around here,
Right.
and are involved in the process, are they not?
Right.
So I mean, that's one
does that
example
matter?
that's not. Well, sure,
Well-
it matters.
No,
Well-
it doesn't. Well, take a look.
What
You don't
we-
need to analyze it. Just go there and take a look and see how it looks.
Well, here's what you need. You know,
Right.
You need something you need the first guy. You need the first person to plug in a restaurant or a brew pub down here.
But that's
and
been
I
always the
guarantee you it'll pop. I mean, but if you're that guy and you're looking at a spreadsheet, it doesn't
Right.
make any sense.
No.
Right. So somebody has to take the leap. And
But you got Tina, you got Henry Lee, you got Joey with the ballroom.
Well,
Right.
there are people.
How many
that have,
first guys do you need?
Yeah, but you know what? Like me and Meatball were driving around other cities. That's kind of what we do, and we're not
Right.
doing anything.
Tra-
It's kind of strange, but no, you don't do that. But anyway, we're driving around, so we're looking at Southington, looking at Wallingford, looking at different downtowns, and one thing that we noticed is there's no retail in downtown areas.
Right.
They're dining districts, they're food districts. If you look at Southington, sure, Southington has everything along Route 5. Well, so does Meriden, really. Meriden's Route 5 is, I mean, down by the Starbucks, down by the Marshalls and Jersey Mike's and the gyms. And I mean, we have everything that the other towns have pretty much. But when you look at Southington's downtown area, it's all restaurants. You're not finding stores that you're not finding mom and pop stores that
Boutiques.
sell cards or sell soap or sell trinkets or sell crafts. You have craft fairs for that. You have pop-up markets for that.
Right.
The legit stores are restaurants and dining. And I think because if you do something good enough, people will drive. People won't worry about parking because they want to go there because
It's a
it's
chicken
really
and
good.
an egg problem.
Well,
Exactly.
I don't think it is a chicken or the egg.
Yes, it is.
Well, it is here.
It's
It is-
restaurants.
it-
You
it
need
is here,
restaurants.
right? So, Middletown, if you remember years ago, was in bad shape.
Right.
But now that they've got a number of restaurants in there, that if one leaves, the other one can pop in and go.
Right.
And now it's a nice, vibrant city, and they've got Wesleyan and all those good things too. But if we can get 4 restaurants to invest in, maybe the city kicks in some money to kind of spur this, and they come in together and fire things up together and all work together. I mean, this is a dream, of course, and
Right.
probably difficult to achieve.
Well,
but-
let me ask you 2 questions.
Yes.
What do you want to accomplish that you can't for some reason, be it logistics, lack of money, in the Meriden?
Well, I mean, we need to focus on one, if possible.
What's your
even
dream?
more. I would like to get one, because I'm not sure how long I'm going to keep doing this, right? I've done it for 2 years. I told my wife I would do this for 2 years, and
Right.
I thought this would be easy. We've got a new green, we've got a new train station. The place looks great, generally. I mean, let's fix it up a little bit.
That's
but
what everyone thinks.
we can make this go, right? And it's the most difficult thing I've ever done. I mean, I made a lot of money in my life selling crazy, complex things, but this is what I
Hopefully
thought would
Lisa's
be
not
easy. This
listening.
is the most difficult thing I've ever done. So, and we're, it's 20 hours a week, and it's supposed to be kind of
Right.
a chill.
So, what's
thing,
your
but-
dream?
So, I would love one good brew pub down here, a family kind of a restaurant that people would come down to.
What's the optimal location for that?
We have a couple, but they don't have kitchens, so it's a big investment. 61 Colony would be great. The Catholic Charities building got a little
Right.
parking lot on the side. The
Yep.
parking lot has a ramp that goes right down to the train platform.
And they want to sell that building,
And
correct?
it's for sale,
Yeah.
and it's got a cool, funky upstairs. But I mean, the bathrooms aren't ADA compliant, so you got to move some things around. But downstairs, it's wide open and ready.
So
for something.
what could the city do to help somebody because it doesn't have that kitchen?
All I can do from where I am is just promote the hell out of it right now. I don't have power of purse strings or anything along those lines. And then we, make suggestions, and we're all working together on ideas. But, there are, what took everybody to Norwich, okay?
Right.
And Norwich is very similar to Meriden in that there was...
It's a ghost town, right?
It
the last
was.
time I drove through there.
Yeah, well, not so much anymore, right? They did a co-working space down there that sparked some activity, and we're talking about trying to do a co-working space here and, bring in small businesses that don't have to pay huge rents in their minds and then get some things going. And what we need is feet on the street down here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So what we need are people to support the businesses that are here. We have great food here. Come down and enjoy it, and then when we bring in folks that I've had walking around with me, that I've been able to connect with, the Jockey, True Religion, Jeans, Nike, they all love the place. They're like, this place is amazing. But you got to get some restaurants and some people down here.
Right.
So
Well, question
that's the
number
mission.
2.
So that's dream number 1.
Right.
And dream number 2 is, and our mission this year is continuing to tell stories in the sense of promoting Meriden and getting the perception changed, because yes, there's the Facebook world of negativity, right? We can't get hung up
Let's
on
talk
that.
about that.
Well, if we don't believe it's going to happen,
Right.
it's not going to happen.
How do
so
you
we
want
need
me-
people to believe that we can do this, right? And we know, and it takes 5 to 10 years to turn a city around. If you look at
But
any
if
other
you
city,
think about this, though, all right, we're talking about perception, okay? Everybody's got the perception that there's no parking downtown. We know that's
Bullshit.
wrong.
Bullshit.
We know it's not
That's
not
my
true.
second question.
Okay. Go ahead.
Where are the signs for the parking that we discussed 2 years ago when I met you?
yeah,
first?
I mean, there's been parking committee meetings that have happened in my office, and there are plans for signages.
There have been plans for
to
2
prove-
years,
It's
and these
'cause there's-
businesses pay extra money to be in their district.
All I can tell you
And
is
we
that
can't come up with
there's-
signs.
there's
How can we
signs
come up with
coming
businesses?
They're coming. I mean, that's,
When?
I'm not on the parking committee or the commission or public works, but
All these damn
I was
committees.
in
So
a
we need-
meeting where it's happening. So,
So we need a parking sign
I've seen it.
subcommittee?
no, there's
There's a ton of committees.
there's a big
Committee
sign
for
right out in
everything.
front of 24 Colony,
Yeah.
and there are signs, but I agree the signage is horrible.
All right. So anyway, perception. So no parking. That's a misconception right there.
Yeah, we have
Okay.
800
But
at least spots.
I think the biggest problem is the perception of there's no walking traffic and there's nobody downtown. That's actually true. You know what I mean? I mean that you can't really say, well, no, there is. And I've seen situations where business owners, potential business owners, have talked to other potential business owners, and those other potential business owners have lied and said, oh, you're going to do great here. You got a police station across the street. You have the courthouse. There's so much walking traffic. And I'm like, what? Why would you tell them that? Well, yeah, you want to see them move in, but you don't want to see them move in and then
move out.
go out of business a month or two later. So you kind of have to be, you got to be honest with them. But at the same time, yes, the perception of all this crime downtown is
perception.
non-existent.
That's not really
Well, that's a
perception.
perception. Everybody
No.
says that it's not safe to walk around downtown,
No.
and that's a misconception.
It's not about downtown. It's the city as a whole. We
Yes.
can have all these
Yes.
perceptions
Yes.
and pretend that Meriden's great and be positively Meriden.
Right.
When there's gunshots every night for a week straight.
Right.
That's not even perception. That's reality.
I don't know
But
about
that's
that.
not walking downtown.
see
Well,
it.
no, that's definitely true. And I mean,
Yeah.
I live a mile away from the ballroom from downtown, and on a nightly basis, I would say for a while there, every single night I was going outside with my dog and I was hearing gunshots. But that's not saying that downtown is not safe. Most of those things are it's crime on crime, and it's in particular
But
neighborhoods.
it's not. You can't
it's
just
not
fix
downtown.
one leak. You got to fix the whole thing, or don't fix anything.
But
at
I don't
all.
think that
you can't be
has-
just downtown,
but
downtown. If there's gunshots all over the place.
Yeah, but that doesn't have I don't think there is a perception of the crime downtown.
There's no perception because it's a reality.
No, it's not a reality. There is no crime downtown.
I really,
There isn't.
I'm down here all the time. I never see any problems.
At
and I
strange
walk around-
hours, too.
Is Grove Street downtown or not? Let's establish what's downtown.
I would say Colony Street and Main Street is
all right.
is your.
So we're cutting out all
your-
the bed.
Hanover.
It's your future
East Main,
potential.
West, yeah,
Your
West-
potential
Street,
dining
Second
district.
Street?
No, it's your potential dining
Around
district.
the green.
Would be State Street, Pratt Street, Colony Street, Main Street, maybe even a little bit of
seen a
Lewis
map
Ave.
of downtown somewhere where it had cut out some streets just because. I don't know why. It was just a weird map.
What they cut out all the bad parts?
Yeah, It was highlighted. Downtown was highlighted, but all the
Right.
bad parts were kind of like.
Well, there's a TOD district, which is defined.
I think that might be it.
Kind of a thing, but
kind of
I don't-
weird, right? It's not really.
Well, I think they were looking at where the
Yeah. I
economic
get it.
development the businesses would be. They're
Is
not going to be in
Lewis
the
Ave-
neighborhoods where people tend to sometimes
Is-
get heated and shoot each other instead of having fistfights.
Is
But-
Lewis and Maine considered part of the TOD? No, I don't think so. Right?
Lewis Avenue might be, but I don't think so.
Like
See,
where
but
the new
I have
restaurant,
the
like
maps in
like
my
where
office
Frida
here.
is. I'm not sure. Have you gone to Frida yet?
Oh, it's awesome.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But
It's
let's
excellent.
get back into
Really
that
nice
perception
people.
stuff. So
Yes.
you want to be more positively married in.
Well, I think we all have to be. It's not just me. I mean, nobody's going to listen to me necessarily. I just have to do my best to make it as clean and as nice as I can,
Right.
and then hope that. And I'll tell you, I think that the tide has turned since I first started, and not because of us, but because I think everybody's working hard. And I see the negativity to positivity
Right.
quotient switching from 70
So you-
negative to 30 positive now to 60 positive, 40
And that's a
negative.
measure of what?
Anecdotal from just my own vibe.
But
from
you
what I'm
can't
hearing.
fix problems if you're pretending they're not there. You can't be always positive.
So
if you
we're trying to
ignore
fix the
shootings.
problems. I mean, there's no way we're not trying to fix the problem.
And is that by pretending to be positive all the time?
I'm not pretending anything. I am
All
what
right.
I am. I
Yeah,
believe
it is what it is, right?
I believe that if everybody comes down and has the good food here and knows that we have great restaurants here, even though they're not the big, huge,
Right.
you're not going
They're
to have
not
a beer and
chains.
watch the game.
So which ones are
We
the
need
great
those.
restaurants?
La Poblanita is phenomenal. If you have a
Yes.
shrimp
Yep.
soup there and you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. The Cuban sandwich over here, we had food bloggers in. Danbury sent a team to Meriden.
From
We
where?
went- She was New York,
No, I mean the Cuban sandwich from
from
where?
La Pan del Sinai right here on Colony Street. Go
Okay.
order the Cuban sandwich. It's phenomenal.
Okay.
Money back guaranteed.
Yeah, on that one, yes. And then Bentley's Jamaican, Lisa's boss, who travels all over Connecticut. When he comes here, he insists on eating at Bentley's Jamaican.
So you like
Best
spicy
Jamaican
food?
Yeah, and the guy from AutoZone, who's the regional guy, I saw him in there one day. He
Right.
said that I always stop here and eat. It's great food.
Right.
Are they
So-
doing good?
Yeah, we're all struggling, dude.
All right,
I mean,
all right.
let's be honest.
Right.
So that's because nobody will come. I'm getting
yeah,
emotional.
Yeah, I know.
People need to come down and try
If
it.
you-
Everybody's afraid for some reason. I don't get it. It's beautiful
I
down here.
think
Parking
that
signs.
there's
Not enough
You
parking
can park
signs.
anywhere.
well, no.
It's free
Here's
parking.
here's
is.
an interesting thing. So, we're talking about perception, and we're talking about I guess what you're saying is the responsibility of people that live here being a little bit more positive and stop talking about the negative because you think maybe that word
It
spreads
becomes
and
a
it scares
self-fulfilling prophecy.
everything
I mean,
away.
we see
Right.
it all the time in life and in reality.
Look,
Right.
look at a simple example of Wise Guys Pizza over on the old Costello's Pizza across from Hubbard Park.
Right.
Wise Guys has not even been open for 3 weeks now, and the buzz all over social media has been crazy about it, and he's doing phenomenal. Now, I can't tell citizens, hey, you have to go downtown and support your local businesses, because you know what? If there's not anything for that particular person downtown, well, they're not going to come downtown. But I think you do have a responsibility of spreading the word. And maybe, hopefully, the word is positive. And like I said, Wise Guys is doing phenomenal.
Spread the word and come down
it's
yourself.
Spreading the word about it. It's maybe you're not going down there yourself, but stop trash talking the place, because the people that are doing most of the
If you're
trash
paying
tossing,
taxes in this town and you're trash talking, I mean, I know people are going to do that anyway, and there's a certain.
yeah, but those are
segment.
the people
But-
that don't
but
even come out.
You kind of write that off, right?
Right.
But if the average person who is trashing it but hasn't been down here to try
Right,
it,
right,
You know,
right.
I talked to a guy at AJ's. I'm stopping in. Hey, what's going on? A great athlete in his day here in Meriden. Trash in the city. I'm like, you live here? Yeah. You're paying taxes? Yeah. He said, have you been to a show on the green? No, there's floods.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, but the
That's-
show might not be for everyone.
This
Some
guy
people
would have liked
probably-
the music. I mean, I know
Right.
they've got a certain genre down there. He would have liked
Yeah.
it if he tries it.
All right,
Bring
two
your wife down here.
things. So
But
we're going to go on to
getting an
that.
honest opinion from him.
We're gonna
And
go on
I'm-
to that.
And I'm trying to turn him around because
24 Colony Street.
Yes.
Articles have come out. The building management, Rick Ross, kind of going head to head with Joe
The rapper.
Fest from Economic Development. I know that me personally, I had a meeting with someone from having to do with that, and they said that it was never their intention on putting any businesses in 24 Colony for the first 2 years. That's a fact, and they never give me a reason why.
That was somebody from the organization said that?
Somebody from housing. From the housing authority who owns
Somebody
the
who
building.
knows what's going
said,
on?
Yes, said that they never had any intention on filling any of those retail spaces for the first 2 years. Now, I don't know if anybody
kept their
else...
promise.
Well, I don't know if anybody else knew that. Okay, but here we are 3 years in. So what are your hands tied with that situation? And if they're not, what are you doing to try and get a business in there?
Yeah, I mean, it has been frustrating, no doubt about it, right? Because you go to the debates and you listen, and everybody that talks economic development downtown points to that building.
Right, because it's in the center,
Yeah,
kind of.
it's new, right?
Right.
How could nobody want to move in there? Well, first, you do have to fit it out, and there's expenses there, so it's not a
Right.
plug and play either. But it's killing us. So
Yeah.
we've been sending leads that way for them to try to develop, and they haven't gone anywhere, including a restaurant that has since opened in another part of Meriden.
It reminds me of what was the movie with where The Interview?
Oh, Caddyshack.
No, The Interview.
Oh.
When they go to interview Kim Jong-un, and they drive through and they in North Korea, and they have the fake supermarket there, and then they go inside and it's just a vacant building, but on the front, on the outside, on the windows, it looks like a full pack supermarket.
I couldn't get through that movie.
No.
I gotta be honest with you. But it is the banner looks horrible. I mean, there's been no effort
they
that
should
I can
cover
see.
the windows of
There's
these.
no social media, other than what we've done.
Right.
We've shown the building from the inside, looking out at the train station. I mean, it's a beautiful place.
So maybe Joey's right. Maybe they're not intended to rent it out.
Geothermal heating. It should be cheap to run that.
Right.
Well, they don't need the money because they're getting the money from the tenants that live there. So anything that
and
moves
they're not
in
taxed
there,
either
you have
at
to
the
remember.
regular rate.
But you have to remember something. When somebody moves in there, now the insurance goes up because somebody moved in there. Now, obviously,
I don't think that's a big deal.
No?
I think that the real deal there is that the
City screwed up.
complications of the financing to get that thing going is more than anybody expected, and I don't know how it was structured because I was long before I came in. but,
Right. I think the city screwed up. If they give him a tax amendment, they should have a closure, and they're saying you got to move in within.
And
a
there
year or
has been
something.
recognition at the city that says, you know what, in future years, if we have these kinds of situations, we have to structure it differently.
They
so that
already
there's
had those
incentive.
situations. They already had those situations with Wild Bro and with the response insurance,
Response insurance is where,
where Record Journal now is.
right? That building's doing okay, I think.
Well, they basically took all the money and ran away. They
Oh.
built a new Wild Bro. They took all the tax credits and all that stuff. And as soon
That-
as those run out, they're out.
well, what's
Excel International there is doing phenomenal.
speaking
Right.
of that, all right, La Rosa's building. What address is that one? You know all the addresses. I'm jealous.
The one with the wings?
29 or 21.
21 Colony, right across from 24, next to the train
Davis
station.
13.
It's got all the
It's
snowflakes.
21 Colony. Yeah.
Okay. Rumor had it that La Rosa owns the building.
Yep.
They got $1 million tax credit or $1 million grant because they're allowed to have apartments above retail.
No.
Why is that building just sitting there? Does it come down to the fact that, again, people don't want to build walls? Like if you've got a building where the first floor is going to be retail and the next 3 or 4 floors are going to be residential, isn't it La Rosa's responsibility to build out those apartments, obviously, to be able to rent them out, put some walls up for the retail to be able to rent it out? There's nothing preventing him from just letting that building sit there and fade away as it's been doing for 20 years now.
I think he cares, and he invested in that building and paid a fair amount of money for it way
Yeah,
back
but you
when.
can't say he invested in it. I mean,
No, for him, it's
paid
an investment.
For it. He paid for it, but it's
He's not going
just
to buy a
sitting
building
there.
to lose money.
But it's just sitting there
because financially there's nothing on paper, no spreadsheet that makes it work yet. It's a building that has no power, no heat.
Yeah, but wait a
no
minute. All right,
electric.
so you've got a local construction company that pretty much does a majority of the construction projects throughout the town.
Right.
He buys a building. That's the same thing as me saying, you know what, I'm a contractor. I buy my house. Who am I going to hire to fix that house up? Myself,
It's
because
not
I'm a
the same.
contractor. It's the same exact
No,
thing.
it's not.
It's an amazing
If you're running
building.
a ballroom and it's running great, and you build and you buy another building somewhere, it doesn't mean you need to put a business in there. You're focused on what's giving you the most
No,
money.
but what I'm saying is, all right, La Rosa's a contractor. He's a builder. He buys one of the best buildings in Meriden.
And listen, he will, if we find the right person, help invest in cleaning. It doesn't need much cleaning inside. It needs power. It needs bowels, man. It needs infrastructure. But it's a beautiful building. The brick, the views of the green. I mean, it's a great building for a brew pub. And he wants to put a brew pub in there.
Right.
He's looking, and we're looking, and we've walked many people through there. We just have to find
Yeah,
the right
let
guy
me
with
ask
the
you
right
this question.
with the right checkbook.
Let me ask you this question. You listen to the podcast, right?
Yep.
So even if you do a great job, Metco, all these 6 organizations do an awesome job.
6. There's 3.
17.
There's
2.
3. Medco, the city, and
we-
the Chamber of Commerce.
Sure, and we got a
I'll
couple
give you
in the
that.
city hall. So, right, you guys do a great job. People go to the city hall. In city hall, they find out that, there's a tax assessor issue. There's Joe Feast that's not communicating, or I don't know, there's a lack of communication between the department and city hall. And we have all these incentives that other departments don't know about. How do you fix that? That's a problem at the core.
Well, I think
that we have been discussing for
I
months
think
now,
the
and
new,
nothing has
the
been
new
done.
sheriff in town is Renata, and you guys know
Well,
Renata,
we
right?
can point fingers at
No,
sheriffs.
I'm
but-
not. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm saying that she has helped, and everybody's on board with this in being a lot more proactive.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a guy who owns a building down here, and he wants
Right.
to put a brew pub in there.
Right.
And instead of putting him through nightmares and circles and
Right.
everything else, we say, let's come in with the fire marshal, with Renata's team,
Right.
with our team,
Give him
and
some
find out what he
incentives.
needs to get the building up and running.
Right.
And we'll do that in advance rather than him trying to build something and then go to the city and then they come in and say, well, you did this wrong or you need that or
But
you
my
need that.
question is, all
and I
right.
don't have the money and all that. So,
So you give them incentives and all
you
that
do
stuff.
it more proactively so that you can get them off on the right foot.
You promise him unicorns and all the good stuff in Meriden.
Well, we're not
different
necessarily
zones.
promising them money.
But
We don't have money necessarily to hand out.
sure. But what that person goes to tax assessors and it gets billed at the same rate, they'll be like, hey, you guys promised me all this stuff, and now at the end, when push comes to shove, nobody knows anything.
Well, what do you mean?
I don't know.
I'm not following you on that one. You
Well,
lost me.
Well, same thing. Like this place had incentives, right?
Yeah.
You went to pay your bill,
Yeah.
and nobody knew anything about any incentives.
Right.
So
Wait.
obviously, there's a communications issue at City Hall.
Yeah, but all right. I think the more important thing is okay.
That's the most
well,
important thing.
well, no, you've got all right. I know you're going to say it's an excuse, Meatball, but
Right, go.
you've got all these new people at City Hall now.
Excuse.
Okay, but listen.
If the process is there, it doesn't matter
You've-
who's operating
all right,
the
but
process.
you've got a new zoning person. You've got
So what?
Renata.
So what?
Okay, what has she done in the very few months that
Very
she's
short
been
time.
here?
She's done a lot.
Yep.
She's done a lot, right?
Right.
All right. She's working on getting rid of the different zoning laws that prevent
All
tattoo
right.
parlors and piercing. But you see the things that she's doing, correct?
Right.
The
Okay.
spirit we're trying to imbibe is that we're easy to do business with.
No, you can do a lot
And
of great
we have-
things, but if everyone's doing their own silo things, they're not communicating together.
Anybody
it doesn't
that,
matter how great.
But I think
Anybody-
that's the point of
anybody that
making
wants
Meriden.
anybody that wants to get a business going, come see us because we can pull all the people together that you need.
I think that's the point of the Making
And
Meriden
help you
office
through
is
the
to
process.
be able to cut down the lack of
Yeah, and when the push comes to shove, and you go to pay your bill, they'll be like, "Oh, whatever. I don't care who."
well, if the
they've
business
promised you
owner
this-
has done the process correctly with the papaperwork that's involved with
Right,
the
so it's
tax
on the business owner.
abatements, then you get your money back. And if you have a problem with that, we'll figure it out. But and there are a lot of new people.
So
I'm just waiting for the letter.
So it's on the business owner to do all this running around. So
Well,
we
no,
have 6 organizations.
It's on the business owner to do their paperwork on their tax.
Sure,
Yeah.
6 organizations that promise a lot of things. When the push comes to shove, nobody knows anything.
So what Meatball is talking about here
Yeah.
is you get, as a new business in downtown, in the TOD district, you get a tax abatement for your personal property and your property taxes. Okay, so your first year is free, and over the course of 7 years,
right.
it gets prorated.
You get a little relief, yeah.
Right, and by the time your 7th year hits, you're paying 100% that you should. And it's giving businesses like me the opportunity to, hey, at least the first year I don't have to worry about paying property taxes, and little by little, it's
So you
giving me
go
a
to
chance
paying.
to succeed.
But I think you still,
went-
and every business has to report their real
Right.
property
So,
and all that.
so they're very strict on whatever it is. November 1st, these papers have to be handed into the tax assessor's office. Well, okay, November 1st, a couple weeks before, I go down to the tax assessor's office. I hand in my things. Come to find out, there's only one person in the tax assessor's office that is not new. Everybody there were at least 7 people in the office. 6 of them were brand new and knew nothing about the tax incentive for the TOD district. They looked at me like I had 2 heads.
Right.
And they said, so this is what Meatball is referring to. Me as a business owner, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but there's a lack of communication.
And you could be doing all you can do.
So who would I like? I've talked to
The
counselors.
question is, do you want me doing that, or do you want me?
I'm not saying you need to do. You do your job.
Right.
He does his job as a business owner. But then why the runaround? I thought we're supposed to be attracting business here, not giving them runaround.
Yeah, but
if I'm gonna get runaround as a new business owner, I'm gonna go to a different city that's smoother and more effective.
Yeah, but I don't think.
How do you know the other town is less a runaround
and
on,
you know
on
what?
the back end after you're already off the ground?
I'll find out. I'll leave Meriden. I'll go find out.
Well, try opening up a business in Southington and see what kind of problems you have there.
No. That's excuse. That's excuse. That's excuse.
They are not business friendly in Southington. Not at all.
Oh yeah, you're doing that. But Obama did.
Nope.
But Obama did.
What?
The whole thing the Trumpers do.
Oh, stop! No,
But Obama did it.
Shut up! Listen,
Obama
I know a business owner in Southington.
It doesn't matter.
And,
It's
no,
irrelevant.
Of course, it matters.
It's irrelevant.
No, it is not
irrelevant.
Are you kidding me right now?
No.
Shut up! Listen, let me tell you a story.
Irrelevant
Let me
story.
tell you something. It's not irrelevant. I know a business owner that opened up a business in Southington. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to that business owner, and she tells me all of the hoops that they're making her jump through.
Right.
Problems with the liquor license, problems with the fire. And I said, oh, my God, I didn't have any of that in Meriden. Meriden was like super easy to open up a business compared to what she is dealing with. Now, the reason for that is Southington is getting all your chains. They got their Starbucks. They got, your Ruby Tuesdays. You got all of the massive chains that are moving there. Southington is not mom and pop business friendly.
All right. So just because Southington is messed up.
Meriden is opposite. Meriden is small mom and pop friendly because we don't have the national chains, because we don't have the population.
So you go pay your taxes.
So how is that irrelevant? I'm telling you that it's way easier to open up a business in Meriden than Southington from firsthand knowledge.
Well, compared to Waterbury, we're a great town.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, if I'm a business owner, if I go to Meriden and I get a runaround, then I'm going to go somewhere else. It doesn't have to be Southington.
Sure.
If I go to Southington and get a runaround, I'll go somebody else.
Well,
if people at the city hall here can't communicate with each other, one department promised me that, but the
sounds
other
like
one...
it's after the fact. Not that it makes it right, but on the front end,
it's not.
It's at the front end.
Is the people coming in to look at businesses have to be
and that's a business
shown
owner,
the
where am I
comfort
gonna
level
go?
that we want them here,
Right.
That we
Right.
will help them,
Exactly.
and and I think we're trying to do that.
And there's no comfort level if I go to tax assessment. They say, I don't know what the hell everyone promised.
Yeah, but
you all
that's
this
after
stuff.
that's after the
it's
fact.
after.
No, it's not.
Sure it is.
A
You're
good
not.
business owner is going to go there and check out everything they can. Just like you said, that
No,
a business owner
I wish
should be filling out all the paperwork.
Level of due diligence.
No.
So let's hook him on some BS and then just have the business owner worry about all the rest, right? After the fact.
No, listen. Okay, it's not BS. It's a lack of communication.
Yeah, but
okay?
let the business owner figure it
I
out.
like the sales side myself.
There's hoops to jump through.
No matter what
to
bureaucracy
fix-
you're dealing with, I think you're going to have hoops.
There's hoops to jump through to
That's
fix that communication.
BS.
Okay, so what do you want to do to fix it?
I'm a
Fire
business
everybody?
owner. I'm a business owner. I'm running a business in Meriden. I'm not going to be running around to City Hall every 2 days to straighten
You know
crap
what?
out.
Yes, you will, because it's your business and it's your responsibility.
When I'm a business owner, I want to focus on running my business, not running to the City Hall every 2 days.
That's a dream world.
And then arguing between the departments.
But that doesn't happen. That's a dream world. You can't have everything perfect.
I'm sure other cities have it. I'm sure there's no problem like that.
You can't have everything perfect. You can't.
You know what? I know how to solve it.
Yeah, but
two more organizations.
But now you're spreading the word that Meriden isn't the good place to open up the business.
Because it's not.
Compared to what? Compared to where?
Compared to a regular place that.
What's a regular place? Where's a regular place?
Departments in the same building can't communicate.
No, where's a regular place? Where is a better place to open up a business than Meriden?
Geneva.
Switzerland?
Yes.
Well, then go there.
No, that's a fallacy.
They got paperwork
That's a fallacy.
All right, I'm not going to talk to. I'm going to talk to Dave over there.
Well, you guys talk amongst each other.
No, but
how it's
think-
all right to bring the business in, but then screw them all. After they come in
no,
here,
I
I don't get
You're
that
not getting
vibe from people
screwed.
that people
No.
are getting screwed.
You're not getting screwed. Yes, there's a lack of communication. It will work
Right there.
out. I'm not concerned
how
about
did it work out for you?
I'm not concerned
Still
with
waiting?
it. Yeah, and I could care less. I'm still going with my business. Let it go.
Other people are a little different. They
No.
might care about having their T's crossed and I's dotted.
I think you have to worry about getting the businesses here and making
Yeah.
them successful before you start getting
Right.
into the stuff you're
Right.
talking about.
And
I
haven't
don't think
failed
it's irrelevant.
And haven't failed because departments at the city hall can't communicate.
All right, who
with
has
each other.
failed because of departments at City Hall? Nobody. Who's failed? Who's gone out of business because of City Hall?
You drove to Meriden?
Who has gone out of business?
Why are those buildings empty?
It's not because of City Hall.
Partially, it probably does.
Help me out here, Dave. Come on.
Dave agrees with me, but he
No,
can't
no,
say it.
no.
Seriously, guys. But
The city is doing everything. I mean, believe me.
No, they're not.
We're pressuring them to get these buildings fixed.
Why
up
not
and-
get departments to communicate with each other, be on the same page?
That's not my role.
That's
I mean,
basic. It's not your role, but
we have
that's
the city
basics.
manager doing a good job of building a team up there, and we've got a lot of new players for
But
sure.
that's the basics.
And
They can't even
the
get-
new spirit up there is let's work together, and
Which they don't.
No, I think
I don't care about
think
the spirit.
You might be talking old regime. I don't know.
No, this is the tires hitting the ground. The spirit might be let's talk together, but they're not talking together, and I know it for a fact.
Well, that's the back end of things, not the front end. You got to worry about the front end before the back end becomes a problem. Then you
Right.
deal with the back end.
Yeah,
Let's worry about the front end
Great
first.
strategy. Great strategy. Let's
Yes.
have organizations say we're going to cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah.
You move into Meriden, then we're going to cross all the bridges when you already invested in a town.
If a big player comes into Meriden and needs help, we're going to see it through all the way.
All right,
Because
let's
we need 'em.
switch. Let's switch gears here. So
Yule Fest.
You are on, well. All right, we've got two things. We got Yule Fest, but you're on what committees are you on with the city? You're on the
an
steering
alternate
committee.
on the planning commission.
Okay.
And as part of that role, I was on the steering committee for the
All right.
POCD.
One question that we had for you, this is going back a couple of months ago. A couple of months ago, a mosque wanted to come in over on Industrial Parkway. And
Research Parkway.
On Research Parkway.
Right.
And that was voted down. And you were one of the members on that committee that voted that down. And I wanna ask your thoughts on that, because from the outside, you see this beautiful, I don't know what it was, like 100,000 square foot building that's been sitting there for 20 years vacant. They finally find somebody who wants to move in just on one floor. But the good thing about that is just that one floor would be taxable. They wouldn't be paying property taxes on the entire building. So here you got an opportunity to move a business in and start getting that tax money into the city. And the city voted it down. They said, no, we don't want a mosque in that building because it's not zoned for it. Do you think Renata would be different because she wasn't here during that? What was the reason for that? Because it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and because that he's taken some legal action, I just can't even comment on it because it's in the courts.
Okay.
So I got to stay away from that one.
Damn, that was a good question. All right, Yule Fest. Go ahead. This is all you.
What was your involvement with the Yule Fest?
So Yule Fest, it was 2 years, I guess, that we've had that here.
Mhm.
And Carrie Teal came in, I think, with Dave. I'm not sure. I don't remember how it started.
Dave
but
Korzicki.
it was Carrie that had the idea of Santa coming in on the train, and I said, that's an interesting idea. And she also has the relationships with a lot of the vendors, so we said, let's put them in 24 Colony Street. And, part of our placemaking efforts is to make downtown... the discussion was, where do we have it? Do we have it on the green? And I think we pushed for having it on Colony Street because we want people to see that downtown is more than just the green. So we spearheaded that, and Medco was the fiduciary party responsible for the Yule Fest. And we put a team together, including you guys there for a few minutes, I think. And,
so is it true that no taxpayer money went towards organizing it?
Absolutely true. I mean, I have the spreadsheet. I can show you everything. I mean, the city Parks Department contributed a person and the stage this year. They didn't have that last year.
Right, but that's all taxpayer money.
Yeah. No, let's see. I paid for the porta-johns through Parks. The stage, they contributed.
I've seen a lot of Parks people
and I paid
walking
for two
around.
people. I paid for two people there. Kathy was doing it on her own. Kathy Matula.
So she wasn't getting paid from the city doing it?
I don't think she got paid that day.
And I've seen a lot of Parks people walking around doing cleanup, and
yeah,
that was
we
all...
had two people. They got paid.
Yeah, there was a whole garbage truck.
Yeah,
I saw.
we wrote a check for that.
Actually, Joe Fest was picking up garbage.
Yeah,
I think
me
during
too.
the event.
That's part of the deal.
Yeah.
And
That
so we
must have
had
been
some grant
expensive,
money.
right? That must have been expensive.
No, it wasn't bad.
Where's the grant
We
money
paid for the
from?
police. We wrote the check for the police.
Well, you have two parks employees that are doing overtime, and you got police doing
$800
overtime.
or something.
Well, I think what the question is, what does something like that cost? What did it cost total, and what do you get out of it? Is it worth it?
Right.
The first year, I think our budget was about $3,000. We did the whole thing for about $3,000. This year, we did it for about 10 because we got some grant money for the lighting. So we did all the wrap lighting on Colony,
Right.
and as much as we could on West Main, and then the Y donated the rest, which was great.
And the parks installed
And the big
that,
sign
right?
on your building was a $2,500 sign there, but that was all through the Meriden Foundation. And the same situation with the parks. I mean, I can pull up my
But the
laptop
parks
here.
put the lights up. I'm having hard time grasping that no taxpayer money went towards it.
Well, it's not no.
Well, the parks
not
guys
directly.
The parks guys hang wreaths and flags
Right.
and everything else.
And that
anyway,
was paid from Yulefest.
they've
funds?
done that forever. That's part of the downtown.
No, in other words, if you got a bucket truck coming
I see-
and
no,
a
I
parks
see, I
guy is
see.
going up and putting up a wreath, if you
Right.
give him another strand of lights,
Yeah, it'll take,
Tomato. I get it. I get
right,
it.
he's not. You're making use of what's already there.
Yeah, no, I
right,
get it.
right.
I get the
so
answer.
they
I
did
wanted.
wrap the poles. Last year we wrapped them. This year they did, which was nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Much
Oh,
easier
that's
than
nice.
one of us falling off.
It definitely made it brighter.
Do you think it was
And,
successful?
I
as
mean, we
previous
came
years?
out as far as money wise. I mean, we came out on the pot. We didn't lose any money.
Good.
So we have a little bit of money for next year's.
Excellent.
And the people that came enjoyed it.
But do you think it was as successful as the first year?
I think that it was. I think we learned a lot this year. We learned a lot last year too, and you got to keep tweaking it. But
I got
this
you.
year, what I learned is that one of the thoughts was, do we turn the corner and go all the way up to West Main Street? And
Right.
we said no. Let's keep it contained, because even if you get a lot of people and you spread them out, it's not going to
Right.
look crowded. I think that because we had another marketplace over in one colony, we had people more spread out, so it may not have looked as crowded as last year. But I think the numbers were, the people that went around with the Yule passes.
Right.
We had 30% more Yule passes handed in this year than
Right.
last year. So I think that the attendance was solid, and the Santa thing was great. I think the stage, honestly, I brought it in, and I don't think I would do that next year.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't used
was,
that much,
It was
right?
overkill. It didn't
Right.
work
It blocked
out.
the street, though.
It did, but I really. And Gallery 53 had their best day in their history.
Excellent.
So it's definitely a great event.
How do you make it better next year?
I know how.
Well, I think we tried to be everything to everybody a little bit. We
Right.
had so much going on, and I think I would tighten that up a little bit. What else? I mean, we tried Santa in a different place this year. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
as convenient. I think I would do that differently. There's a lot of things we could do. We maybe 24 Colony. Maybe we don't bring in all the vendors. I don't know.
Right.
We're going to talk about it. There's a lot of
How
ideas.
is I don't know. I'm not sure if you know the answer to this. How is 24 Colony used without is the city permitted
Oh,
the use
yeah.
of 24 Colony?
No, that's
No, I
that's
called
always
them
been
up
my
and-
question.
Yeah.
You can't have people in a building until it has a CO. How did they have a CO at 24 Colony when they have no running water and they have no heat, no air conditioning?
I mean,
How-
people
how
do
do they-
pop-up events in buildings all over the country all the time. It's,
And you just get insurance for that one day to cover the event, and then it's
Medco
okay.
has insurance that we carry for the year for pop-up events that cover us as long as.
But the
there's
city gives some
no
kind of
alcohol
permission to
and
use that building?
No alcohol and no farm animals.
but nobody pays to rent that space.
we didn't pay any money.
That just and who
They
give,
donated it.
who gives that to you? Rick Ross?
Rick and Rob, the whole crew.
Okay.
Eddie's phenomenal, helping us out.
But the city is okay with that?
Sure, why
With
not?
using that space?
Why
Well,
not?
because it's not fire approved.
It gets
Well,
people in the building. That thing is so fire resistant. You see
I'm-
that stuff
I'm
in there?
sure it is, but there's
nothing
different
to burn.
rules.
There's nothing
Right.
that can burn in there.
Well, we can say the same thing about this
And
place.
we had fire extinguishers in there, and
Right.
so we were fine.
All right, so I got a question from a viewer for you, Dave.
Wow,
Sus-
we're on live or something?
Yeah, no. But somebody wrote in because they knew that you were going to be on. Suzanne L. writes in, asked the question, is it true that if buildings in downtown get filled, then there's no need for Medco or any of these, if you listen to Meatball, the 6 agencies.
Thank you for listening. Somebody.
So what would the incentive be to fill them? So you see what she's saying. So
Chicken
in other
and
words,
egg.
if once all of these buildings are filled with businesses and stores, is there a need for Medco anymore? I mean, for the Making Meriden Business Center. In other words, that would basically say, hey, you guys did your job. You're good. Everything's up and running. Now, do you close the Making Meriden Business Center?
Perhaps.
Okay. So if that happens, then what's your incentive for actually filling those businesses? That's her question, not mine.
I'm not sure I get it.
In other words, like if you wanted to keep your position and
If you're
keep your
successful.
job, I'm saying her question. What she's saying is, if you wanted to keep your job and keep going, it's in your best interest to not fill those spaces.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy. That's why I didn't get it. That's just crazy talk. Sorry, Suzanne L. or whatever you're saying. No, I mean, I'm not down here for a job.
You want your job to end because it means that you did a great job.
I'm getting paid $25,000 a year. This isn't
Good
really,
Lord, that's a lot of money.
It's more than the mayor.
Yeah, it is.
I
more
think
than
it
the
is
mayor.
way more than the
but
mayor.
he deserves more than that.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
He gets
I would
chocolates.
never want that job in a million years.
Chocolate?
But I mean, this isn't something I'm making money on. That's for sure. So,
So
the incentive for me is to make good things happen and walk away and say, "Wow, that was."
And is
Phil
the Making
Ashton-
Meriden Business
Phil-
Center really just worried about downtown? You guys don't worry about East Main Street or West Main or by the park. I mean, you're really, or do you bring in? I mean, do you have any interest outside of downtown, or is it really focused downtown?
No, I pay $10,000 a year in taxes here, and plus my cars. I don't know. I definitely have an incentive. So. You might have met Mitch, who came in and was looking around at various scouting locations, and I took him to lunch and went to Huxley's, and then we went to Taino's, and he bought Sal's Pizza, so that's outside of downtown.
And that's called the local now,
the local,
correct?
Yeah. He's a New York guy.
So when did that actually happen? Because there's been discrepancies online about when the new owner took over.
Oh, he's probably been running it for 4 or 5, 6 months. I don't know the exact
Oh,
date,
really?
but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they just changed the name, though, not that long ago.
I see.
Well, he cleaned up the kitchen,
Right.
and he's brought in new ingredients, and he's doing a great job. But,
Okay.
It's
So that's called the local,
so
which
he's
is
a New
the
York
old
guy.
Sal's
It
Pizza.
it reminds him of the L train
Yep.
in New York, where
Yep.
he's from. And he was kind of going with that, and his family moved from New York to Guilford, and
Right.
came up to Meriden and was intrigued by Meriden. Walked around and said, "This place is great." He
I
came,
think everyone's intrigued by Meriden.
he came to the concert, the opening concert of last year.
All right, so let's get on that topic now. The Twilight concert series. I see an ad for the first pop-up thing, and what do I see? I see the same bands as last year. The Santana cover band, which I understand got a great crowd
Great
came out.
band.
Some people say 4,000 people, others say 5,000. Right?
They
Is that-
use drones to count the heads.
No, but do you think I understand that that's got nothing to do with you guys? Obviously, it's a positive impact on the city.
Right.
I think a lot of people have the perception that there's X amount of people in charge of doing events at the Green, and you have to go through them. And we've been trying to let people know, look, anybody could do events on the Green.
Right.
And hopefully there'll be another concert series. I mean, how great it would be to have a concert series on Friday nights and a different concert series on Saturday nights. And most cities like Southington does it on Wednesday nights. I think Hamden does it on Wednesday nights or Tuesday nights. Stanford does it on Tuesday nights. And they
How
have a
often
great
is the
thing.
church series?
Yeah, I mean, we
gonna
got
happen?
the
It's
singer-songwriter
weekly.
series on. We're going to be monthly,
Right.
and every Friday. So
The church.
Yeah, and
Right.
then when the summer series here starts up, I'll move it to Thursdays, and there's a little outdoor nook in the back of the church that'll be phenomenal for
Okay.
outdoor live music on Thursday nights.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And that's great people coming in from around the state. So looking for that. So yes, we need more. We need a live music venue down here,
Yeah.
and that's another thing we need.
Hello.
That would be a dream.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
I mean,
You're sitting in one right now.
acoustically,
No. You
we gotta
heard
work it out.
you heard Inner Groove on Yule Fest and
They
said
were
that it
good.
sounded amazing in here.
Yeah.
So forget that. First
But-
of all, acoustic wise, a church. Come on, you've got the biggest echo in the world, which is
No.
is
Not for
perfect.
acoustic music. It'll be perfect.
Yes, correct.
And it's
So-
built for acoustic.
So we have
And they
our
have a Steinway
own.
piano in there, dude.
But,
Yeah,
but
it's
let's circle back to Yule Fest a little bit. How do we attract
Yule
people?
Fest or the
fr-
concert series? Which one
all
are we
of
talking?
them. All of them.
Okay.
How do we attract people from outside of Meriden?
Well, don't worry, because once 24 Collins Street gets built, then they'll start doing it in my building.
and they get
I mean,
Yeah.
Sacred Fire has a following of folks from all. I mean, they're one of the premier. You know, it's Santana. If
Yeah, but
tribute
it's the
band.
same concerts every year.
Well,
Why-
this was their first year last year, and he's a Meriden guy, and
Yeah.
he gave us.
We're going to have the Coconuts
and I say us, I'm
again.
not
We've got
involved
the
with it, but-
Santana cover band again. We're going to have Joby Rogers' Experience,
Right,
which
right. But
to
let's-
me
let's-
was not much of an
but let's
experience.
go
Has the
beyond
lineup
that.
been announced? for this
No,
year?
but you know
predictable.
exactly what the lineup is going to be. I
No,
just
I
named
don't.
it.
I don't think so.
I guarantee it.
I don't think so.
I guarantee it.
Cashews and Rails are new ones.
You know,
I-
first of
I
all,
know
the-
Sacred Fire is opening, but I
Look,
haven't heard of any other bands.
I'll be,
but aside from
wait.
that,
I'm going to be really critical, and you could hate me for it, but the Joby Rogers Experience.
So negative.
Okay, I get that he's a local guy, and Michael Jackson said, yes, you can impersonate me, but it's a lip syncing dance show. Like, there's no experience. There's no lighting. There's no special effects.
it brings
there's no,
people in.
They brought people.
So we just keep on doing it every year, so
No,
the same people can go
hells
down.
yes.
I don't know if
son.
it's going to happen this year.
Yeah.
I'm not involved. But
Aside from that little details you guys are discussing, how do we bring outside? How do we make people from outside of Meriden aware that there's good things happening in Meriden?
that's
Promotion,
through our
marketing.
social media. I
Who's
mean,
doing that?
Lisa Bizak is my hero. You know, she works with me every day, and you know, the gentleman that came in to paint all these windows, he found us because of what we're doing on social
And
media.
he did an amazing job.
And,
social media.
I mean, without much budget, now we have a new communications strategy
Right.
person on board, and we've got.
And what is the strategy
decide,
for the communication
Well,
strategy?
she just started. We're going to have to figure that out, right? But to me, it's
At our cost.
utilizing it. Well, I mean, we need it, right? You got to
but,
pay
but,
for
it's,
it.
but it's always we're gonna figure out one thing. It's always we're gonna figure something out.
Well,
Remember when I first started criticizing
until
those
then-
6 organizations, and you told me to come to your office,
Yes, anytime.
and I came to your office,
Yeah.
and you showed me the spreadsheets, and great, a lot of spreadsheets.
Well, you could-
One thing that Lisa said to me, which was very weird,
Yeah.
was, "Well, we're gonna have a new communications director coming in,
Right.
and hopefully that person has ideas."
Well,
We already had 6 organizations that are already working at it, and now we're waiting for somebody else to come with new ideas.
I guess the idea is how many people does it take, and how many
To have any
how,
ideas.
How many new blood until we start seeing results? I guess that's the
Right.
question.
well, we've put together a platform that is, you know, one of the things that came out in all the feedback recently in the focus groups from
Right,
the
but
POCD
focus-
efforts was,
Right.
where do you go to find out what's happening in the
Yeah,
city?
but
right?
that's we can
So-
put platforms, committees,
So we
subcommittees.
put a website together, but you got to have a unified
Where-
message.
where are the
and if you're
results?
bringing in a new communications person, you don't want to build this thing and then have somebody come in and say, "Well, we're going to do it this way," and
But
change
where
it
are
all
the
up.
results?
So we're being patient until she gets on board, and then we're going to have a focused
Taxpayer
effort to
can be
get the right
patient.
message out there.
No, a taxpayer can be patient for 20 years. Where are the results?
I've been doing this for a year and a half, but
Well, it's not about
So-
you. It's about the city and you being a taxpayer as well, as you said.
Yep,
Where
yep.
are the results?
look around.
We're just sitting and waiting for another
the-
person
the-
to join
we got-
and
we-
bring some ideas, right?
We've got a Meriden Green that's unbelievable. We've got
Well,
a commuter
and we got
rail
a-
line running through the city.
and we got a mall that's going
that-
out of business.
All the malls are struggling
But
everywhere.
that's irrelevant.
Well,
For Meriden's,
right.
it's going
So
out of business, right? So we need to
There
step
are
up our game.
discussions happening with the mall on how do we make it better. And
Right,
who
but
can
we need
move
to
in
step
there.
up our game and not say we're going to be waiting for
But
somebody else to
the
come
thing
with
is,
fresh
it's
ideas.
not a magic wand. You don't just say, "Okay, this is boom and it's done." You got
It's not.
keep working it.
It's not.
I think the trick is to get everybody on the same page, to get all
I've
these.
been saying that for like
Yeah.
45 minutes.
No,
already.
I just came up with that just now.
All right.
That's not your
All right,
idea.
great
That's-
idea.
I just came up with that idea.
Great idea.
Thank you. So anyway, no, I think when you have a million committees and you've got a million organizations and you've got a million different divisions of different groups and different things, it's really easy to get things all messed up. And
And
it
they
really,
are.
I personally think Meriden's problem. Meatball thinks it's his idea. It's my idea. I think everybody's got to get on the same page,
Yes.
and get together.
Yes.
I know. Linda was on Facebook talking about.
Whatever.
I know that's your favorite person, but she was talking about having these forums.
She talks a lot.
but
But who's everybody?
it's
Right.
You know what?
How do you get everybody? I mean,
The community needs to be involved,
6 organizations.
and the
together.
city needs to be involved, and everybody's got to get on the same page, and everybody's got to work together to better this
we
city.
welcome anybody who wants to get involved.
Meatball said he wants to get involved more.
Always.
We meet every Tuesday, 10:00. It's the economic development director. It's Renata on planning. It's myself. It's
You know what? I was
Sit
wait,
Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
The Medco leadership.
right.
And
That's on 7 organizations.
no, that's the city. Right? You want everybody on the same page,
Yes,
but then,
yes,
but then you
yes.
say there's 10 people involved.
Yes,
But you
yes.
know, you got to
You're
get
right.
everybody in the
Right,
room.
right.
And
Correct.
that's where it happens right now
Right.
in terms of what we're going to be doing and what we're prioritizing.
Right.
Right.
I was trying to get involved 2 years ago when we discussed all those getting those parking signs, and I was all excited.
With who was that?
We were downstairs in your office. I think it was a neighborhood, one of those neighborhood things.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. We came up with the idea of like having local artists come up with like different
Parking
parking
designs.
signs, and then I think Ross was the one that said, "How about a simple blue P?" Which does make sense
Even
too.
a simple blue P,
But
it's
I
not
think
there.
That's pretty much what's going to happen.
But I think that's the problem is it's the same ideas over and over again. Everybody gets excited about them. They kind of fade away. And then a year or two later, hey, I've got this same exact idea, and it never actually
Why
gets
does it
accomplished.
take 2 years to get parking signs?
Yeah.
That's my question.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I don't.
we're all talking about we're going to have economic development. We're having all these ideas, this and that. We can't even get the parking signs
Yeah, but
on
that,
our streets.
that has nothing to do with the Making Murder business office.
No, that has a lot to do with the whole city. We're
Yeah.
talking about city.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like we can't come together because one person says this, another person doesn't listen, and nothing happens.
Hey, we're going to have a brand new banquet hall on the golf course, so you can enjoy that for free.
Is there going to be a parking sign?
They're
They're going to have a parking issue right there.
I heard, you hear it from me first.
Dirty laundry.
The new banquet hall on the Hunters Golf Course will be free for Meriden residents. You heard it first right here. I heard it.
All right, I'm
I heard
recording
it's
this.
going to be free for Meriden residents, so spread that rumor around, people.
Dirty laundry.
But there are going to be parking issues.
Well, all right. We've
yeah.
done this long enough. I think we're way involved. Thank
People
you,
got to
Mr.
believe,
David.
man. Come on downtown.
Yeah.
Good
come
things are
downtown.
happening.
Look
Have
at
some
the
good
buildings.
food.
Yes, thank you.
When I bring people in and they don't see people down here, we don't get the investment. So
Right.
We need people.
Thank you, David, for coming by
Peace out.
and putting up with Meatball.
I love you guys.
And
Thank you.
if you
Love
want
you too.
if you want to be a sponsor, make sure you email us Dirty Laundry
Old
CT.
Church Music Series. Follow us on Facebook.
That's right.
Can
Dirty-
golf course be a sponsor?
DirtyLaundryCT@gmail.com.
That's enough.